Oh, hello. Oh, bring the lights down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. New chair, who dis? Yeah. We'll let this guy in here. It's true. All right. Think we're good? Think stuff's working? I have a slightly better way of finding that out these days, but it depends on having the hot bride's help, and I don't have that help because she is working tonight. She is working tonight. Oh, wait. Okay. Ooh. Yep. All right. Throat is shot. Ooh. Okay. Lurks. Good. Probably. Glance. Good. Probably. We'll leave it at good. Probably. Did I go with you? Yep. We'll leave it at good. Probably. Greetings. Salutations. All. Hey, look, I'm not muted. I remembered. I did it. We managed, you guys. It wasn't easy. It took a long time, but we did it. Gang, I'm very excited to get to tonight. Wow. There's a lot. So, glad to have you guys in. Very good indeed. We'll let this guy in here. It's right. Silver, it's good to see you. Hi, Silver. Hello. Hi, Mel. Hi, Wild. Hello. Jack, good to see you, my friend. Scrum Tush time zones, I hope. Thank you for lurk, sir. I appreciate you. Lurk and like. On the tubes of you. Oh, my word. And on the rumble. Dang, Jack is in all three places. What an actual gentleman. I swear. Look at this dude. What would his support? What would his wiles and his ways? Appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you. Oh, but yes. Oh my gosh, we got a juice. We got the juice spin. Let's go. It's a very good. It's a good one. I wanted to have the window open a little bit because it's toasty as in here. However, it's also raining. Like off and on. It's nothing crazy. But off and on it's raining. And I don't want anything to get ruined by the rain. I also don't have to jump up at a moment's notice to go do something about the rain. You know? If I break something, I don't want to do it. So, I guess, maybe I still could. Maybe I could. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Wild, I'm well. Thank you for asking. I'm doing all right. It's been harrowing. You guys will hear a bunch of that tonight. I will tell the tale then. I will
apologize to take care of my family. And I refuse to be a fool. Dancing out
Mel! Good, Jack's got a subscription! This is very exciting. Thank you for the gifted. I appreciate you. Man, oh man. Can you crack it from the top? I don't even know what that means. I must have said something. It must have made sense in context, but you know. Smooth. Built for speed. Aerodynamic brain. So, you know, there's that. Crisp! Hi, Crisp! Good to see you, friendo. Welcome back. Hope weekend's eve is finding you well. Yeah, I love the rain. Same, Wild. Same. Also, I love that crack got friggin' like censored by Stream Ninja. The word crack Seriously? When people say crack, do you think the majority of the time they're referring to it, they mean the drug and not, you know, a description of something? Any number of things. Rock with a crack in it. Piece of glass with a crack in it. Nope, it's drugs mostly? Thanks for nothing. Nanny state. Unbelievable. Actually, unbelievable. The window. Oh, can you crack? Oh, from the top. No. No, that'd be really cool. I wish I had the, shoot. What the heck are they called? The windows that you open out. They're like all over Europe. They're called, casement. Casement windows. I do not have any casement windows. Either vertical or horizontal. I have neither. I have regular old slidey ones. Regular old slidey ones. So, I don't know. It looks like it's maybe taking a break. I might crack it just for a minute. The wind is also, like, nuts. Wind's howling. But I feel like it's going side to side and would not, therefore, come through that window and knock things over and cause a bunch of a ruckus. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll crack it open. Maybe we'll do it. Casement! I hate them. I have them. I hate them. Ah, see, you knew Silver. Silver knows things. Hi, Retro. Hello, Retro. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm behind on the talks. I've been waiting for the last section to complete. Now that the new section is beginning, I will listen to the last 3 installments over the weekend. Such, I'm lurking tonight. Also keeps me from being baited into chatting. Fair enough, Jack. Fair enough. I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy The Warrior. One of those in there is a Just Chatting talk, where we did not actually revisit very much of this, if any of this. So, yeah, the Just Chatting session, which would have been the last one, talk 176, you can skip. Pretty much. So, yeah, you've got The Warrior, parts 1 and 2. That's what you've missed. That's what you've missed. That's what you've missed. Some can be opened from the top, and that tends to do better protect. Yeah, when they hinge. Wait, open from the top. Wouldn't that just let it in? God, I'm not wasting my time playing GTA RP. Gus talks a better value. I'm glad to have you, Retro. Glad to have you, sir. And I'm glad that you find this to be of value. Of some kind. Of some kind. Crack, crack, crack. And you blocked them all out. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Do you have the ones that swing out, Silver? Or do you have the ones that, like, swing up? Like, what kind of casement window do you have? I'm curious. I liked the ones we had in Europe, but then again, like, I didn't, like, live there long term. I was only there for, like, a couple months, so it seemed novel and fun to me. So, in certain use cases, I don't know. I was going to go to an event, but I'd rather be here with Gus and chat. Daw, freaking crisp! That's very kind of you. I'm glad to have you in. Glad to have you in. That's no small thing. Such a cool word, though, casement. It's true, Wild. It's true. Good evening, Mafia, and good evening to you, Doctor, if that is your real name. Good to see you, Bree. All good, friend. Still helps grow the platform. It's true. All of the stuff. We're growing. It's working. It's working. Duckling! Hi, Duckling. Good to see you, fabulous friend. Oh, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Casement windows are okay for rain, but they're terrible if you have to put in... Oh, an AC unit. Oh, yeah. Of course. We'll have to get creative with plywood and... Oh, we have to. Oh, that's why you don't like them, is because you had to do this. This is more than a theoretical, Madam Silver. This is more than a hypothetical that you've been... Oh, no. Oh, no. See, like, I've got forced central air. So, yeah, that's not a consideration for us replacing our windows. But, yep, I hadn't even considered that. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Ski! Hello, Ski! Welcome in. Good evening. Good to have you. Good to have you, friendo. Glad to have you in. Congratulations on crushing that chess game. You said it was fast, it was brutal. And I'm like, wow. Way to moiter him. Way to moiter him. Way to moiter him. Hars! Hi, Hars! Are you done? Did you finish? You did! Excellent news! Get to reclaim some bandwidth. Very good, very good. I hope your stream went well. Super glad to have you. I appreciate the lurk. enjoy the baking. What are you making? I want to know when you're done. Looking fresh, thank you. I tried something new tonight. I've actually never worn this combination. The red, gray, the red on gray with the, yeah, this is new. This is a new to me one. Thank you for calling out appreciate you. Sideways like a doer. I gotcha. That definitely would not work. It's a practical case. All of our windows are casement, and it's a huge pain in the ass. If I don't have AC in the bedroom and in the office, both rooms can hit 95 degrees in the summer. How to make custom inserts for internal AC units. They sit on the floor on wheels, and there's an exhaust hose that goes to the window. Yep. I got you, Silver. I could picture it. So you had to do, like you said, get creative to create sort of a seal, so you're not actually just letting more heat in. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. That would be a nightmare. Lots of fun just catching up. I'm glad. Glad to have you back on the internet, Ars. Glad to have you back on the internet. You were missed. It's true. It's a good suit. Thank you, Ski. I appreciate it. The red never shows up. This plum color never really shows up in the lighting that I have with the like the color levels, the exposure levels. But that's okay. It's all right. I'll live. Making a strawberry cream cheese oatmeal bake. A strawberry cream cheese oatmeal bake, you say? That is, I mean, it sounds good. Sounds like fun. You have to let us know how it shows up. Do we get pictures? Are there going to be pictures in the Not Safe for Gus channel where all the food goes? Is that what it's going to be? I'm looking forward to it. Burgundy and gray is a fantastic combo. That's why so many colleges use it. Can't say I've ever thought of that. Interesting. Silver knows things. Frame tends to help block the rain when opened from the top, depending on the setup and the trajectory. Sure, the rain trajectory, of course. Of course, you still down for me mailing in that tie? You can mail a tie if you want to, Ski. Y'all don't gotta mail ties. But you're welcome to mail ties. The business address is in the Discord. You guys are welcome to send ties. That's very thoughtful. It's very kind, but you don't have to. Ahmed! Hello, sir! Good to see you. I hope your games are going well. I'm pretty sure you're still alive. I saw you murder a team with a PK earlier, and I was like, God, he makes it look so easy. I'm so upset. It's ridiculous. Something new, and a friend recommended it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to crack open this window. I decided. I made my decision. And that's because tonight, boy, I'm very excited to get into this talk. Very excited to get into it. And it's a little toast. And I don't want to be, like, I am pleased with this talk. Very pleased. And I want to be schmoovin', you know? I don't want to be distracted. So anyways, I'll sit tight. Look, I'm not even going to have to mute you. You just sit right there. It'll take 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We'll just pop on over here. And there it is. Done. The end. Well, actually, I guess I need to block the door so that doesn't get blown open. Good. Very good. Excellent even. Oh, bring down the lights. There we go. Much better. Hey. Excuse you. Right in the way, I swear. Ooh. Oh, that's... Can you hear that? Is the noise gate keeping that out? When I talk, can you hear what probably to you sounds like a static sound? That would just be like persistent rustling of leaves. Can you hear that at all? Ooh, I'm gonna have to drink this tea today. My throat is not thrilled. Hate for my tie to go to waste. It's one hell of a tie. It's quite kind, Ski. I'll take it. As ever, no guarantees that I got a bunch of ties. No, if I can't figure out what to wear it with, I might be useless here. People can't, this is not an open invitation for people to send in a whole bunch of joke ties. And there's like a haha, Gus has to wear it on stream. Nope, I do not do the dance monkey dance thing. So This is just gonna nip that in the bud right there. There's no guarantee that if any of you send me an article of clothing that it will end up on stream. Or anything will end up on stream. But just saying. Just saying. Oh, the weather change. I love the weather change. Sick? You're sick too? Oh yeah, I knew this. You got the computer virus. From me, it's contagious. It's ridiculous. I'm basically done with mine. My throat's not thrilled today, but I'm pretty sure it's from so much talking. Which is interesting because it hasn't been that much talking, come to think of it. Less talking than normal. Whatever. Hoprite is feeling much better too, by the way. Thank you to those who've been asking. The handful of you who've reached out and asked about the well-being of the Hoprite, thank you very much. She was really in a bad way there for several days, and so I'm grateful for all of the well-wishings, you guys. She is feeling much better. She's got to sleep like a full night last night. Just 10 out of 10. I'm very happy to see her coming back around, being alive, you know? Being alive. We love it. What an ocean. What an ocean. Okay, so let me begin by saying that tonight what I'm going to do is I'm not going to enable follower-only chat tonight, and that's only because I don't have such a thing enabled for, like, Rumble. YouTube's one is the 10-minute subscriber thing, but I don't have it set up for Rumble, and I'm not going to be seeing chat anyways. I'm already not going to be, once I launch into the lecture, I'm already going to be missing everything. So whether it's someone's new following or not, yep. And I don't want to derail unnecessarily to explain it all the time. So I'm just going to let that ride. I am still going to disable raids. I very much doubt I'm going to be rated on Rumble, so it's not something I need to worry about over there, but I do need to worry about it on Twitch, so I am going to disable raids once we launch in and get into the seriousness. And for those of you who are perhaps new around here and you've never heard me say such a thing and you don't know what the heck, why would he disable raids? It's not because I don't love raids, because I freaking do, and I am humbled like every single time someone wants to raid me, okay? But I derail super hard, and it's always very clashy for, like, the hype of a raid, because, God, raids are fun. And I want to match that energy. But very often the stuff we're talking about is difficult, you know, and we've brought the tempo way down. And so it's very incongruous, the hype of a raid and the difficulty of the talk, the lecture material. So I disable raids just because that. And this is funny because this was exemplified, this was shown in an old Gus talk that I was going through, where, boy, it was 5 hours long, and it was so long because twice during that talk, I basically started over because I got raided. And then I'm like, oh, let me bring you guys up to speed. Right, like, I can do that with any sort of succinctness. No, ridiculous. So, yeah, it's a big thing. So I disable raids on Fridays when we have the serious business. I will have the little scrolling banner text, boop, running along the bottom of the screen to let people know what it is we're doing. And all of that, all the strictures will be in place when we hit the material. My invitation to you all is the same as with previous talks in this series, previous installments in this, the masculine journey, is keep an open mind. If you've got something meaningful that you want to discuss about it, you've got an input, I am working on a better solution to this going forward. It is not yet implemented, so I don't get to reveal a bunch of things right now. But my encouragement to you is write down your thoughts, write down bullet points for your thoughts, whatever it is, on some sort of document, on a notepad, or use your crew chat for it. Like a couple people in a handful of crews use their crew chat to say, thoughts on the Gus talk, here they are, just as a placeholder, as a reminder, hey, let's tackle this on Wednesday. And that is the place where we can have a meaningful discussion, meaningful engagement about what are inherently difficult topics, difficult things. Twitch chat is unbecoming. Twitch of you. It's not good enough for you. Okay? Like, I will try my best to read between the lines, to infer syntax and you know, like, tone. It's impoverished. And I would not wish the disservice upon you of me assuming I know what's going on, getting but like a tenth of what you're actually communicating, okay? I don't get body language, I don't get tone, I don't get that syntax, I miss a lot, okay? And that's if you've done everything perfectly and even used emotes to like augment your thing just to make sure you're understood. I'm still gonna miss stuff, and I don't want that. Especially if it's silly things and we're joking, that's fine. We can miss chat sometimes, and that's not the end of the world, and I hope you'll forgive me when I butcher those sorts of things. But when it comes to serious topics, God, I want to do right by you guys. I want to do right by you guys. And I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it. Not for these. Not for the talks. Not for the serious. For the silliness, we'll laugh it off. But for the serious, less so. Less so. Now, but you won't see any ads, as far as I know, anywhere, because I haven't signed the contracts. So, yeah, big thanks to everybody who makes this possible. From the silly to the serious and all the stuff in between, the community get-togethers, the rendezvous, all of it, okay? Like, there's a bunch of work that goes into all of this. This is my full-time work. And none of that happens without the folks who have parted with their hard-won dollars to give this thing a shot at a future. Those of you who have, on a subscription-style basis, supported this program. Those of you who tip and are gifting subs and buying the merch and sending ties and being here with your bandwidth and encouraging a friend and guiding raids and like all of that is necessary. Necessary. Absolutely. End of the day, the lights need to stay on, and I have to give a special extra portion of gratitude to the people who are the reason that I have the lights on. So big thanks in particular to the public patrons who've taken that $5 a month to the next level. Aki, Bootless, Dano, Leanne, Ferret, Goose, Abby, Tink, Helly, Marty, May, Karma, Pri, Rick, Zen, Ryan, Sabrina, Tier, Mouse, Trotsky, Pell, Milk, CJ number 1, and Zin. Thank you, you remarkable humans. Now I'm going to come back to Ryan in a minute. That Ryan on that list right there, I'm going to come back to that in a minute because I've got a fun to share with you guys. I've got a fun thing to share with you. I don't get to talk about all of the stuff, but I do get to tell you a little bit of tea by way of explanation. Okay, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be great. Cannot hear the aforementioned leaves. Thank you. I appreciate it. It kind of comes and goes. So okay, and I guess in the final edit I can use the new studio tools to wash it out if I need to. Yay, voice isolation. Is that a bug? No, it's dust. Okay. Oh, no, it's a fuzzy. Oh, crap, I forgot. I wonder how much of that there is. The aspen tree is in bloom, and it makes all these fuzzies just freaking float through the air like snow. If only we had screens that worked / fit that weren't broken. On custom-sized windows that you can't get replacement screens for. Whoever designed this house, we are in a blood feud. That's right. You're probably old, you may be dead, but your children and your children's children's children. That's right. It's like Hook, okay? It's like a hook. You really gotta learn big raid and little raid intros. Yeah, Silver, you're right. It's a skill I lack. You're exactly right. But yeah, for the seriousness, for the serious lectures, it's always been that clash really killed me. Really killed me early on. Going back and trying to catch people up, and like people are like, okay, we're here. It's like, cool, I'm 2 hours into the lecture. What the? Tea called throat coat. Oh, hey, Hot Bright has that. It's gross. Super gross. But yeah. It's a singer's standby. Yeah, gross. Love that tea. Oh my gosh. Everybody likes tea. I don't like tea at all. I don't like tea at all. I mean, like, tell it to me, sure. But like, this? Trinken? No. And this is the calming, soothing Uncle Iroh-inspired jasmine tea. Very good. Can't go wrong with an Uncle Iroh-inspired tea. But still, wish I were drinking coffee. Gus, are you able to disable the Rumble alert? So if new people come in, it won't derail your talk when they're subbed? Here's how I can answer that question, Mal. I don't suspect any new people coming into Rumble are gonna sub. I don't suspect they're gonna. I'd say the chances of that are real low, barring some sort of meddling. I could disable certain alerts. It's not super intuitive of how to do that, and I've never done it before. I could go into the bot and start messing with things, but I'm also hesitant to breaking it because as far as I'm concerned, it's a house of cards and I'm going to treat it as such. It's probably not. It's probably more robust than I'm giving it credit for, sure. Still. Okay, let's see here. Ever tried Time Leaf? I guess on my tea stash. Everybody calls it a stash. Sorely in need of refreshing. Yeah, we need some too. We're almost out. Ran out of tea. Earl Grey, hot. New mic, maybe even better than expected. It's a great mic, I gotta say. Big fan. Really big fan. The noise isolation, though, would not be on this end. That would be on the program end. So the microphones, like the thing about a nice microphone, like an actual real huge diaphragm, like condenser mic, is it hears every damn thing. Ask Ruth. Ask that fabulous human. All of the isolation would come on the back end. So that's not owed to the microphone, strictly speaking. The microphone just wants to hear absolutely everything. It wants all of the rustling leaves. It wants to hear the whooshing of the wind. It wants to hear every little thing. Me tapping my fingers or like every click and clack and every keystroke. So that's what the noise gates are for. Ruth, how the heck you doing, my dude? How is you? If you have the screen frame, you can buy the screen mesh and just reframe it. Yes, I can reframe it myself. The frames are broken. On the ones that are broken, the frames are either bent or broken. But even then, I don't have any interest in building my own screens. Nope. This is one of those things that I need to get better at. I keep saying, okay, my time is valuable and I need to treat it as such. And then I go and try and teach myself how to do every danged thing in existence. And I wonder why I have no time. So nope. We're just going to replace, the windows all need replacing anyways. So we're going to get new screens when we do that. We just thought that was a 2 years ago project and not a this year project. Fingers crossed. Fingers still crossed. It's not great, but it works. Ugh, yeah. No. 10 generations, that's right. Your children. Hoffman did a great job. He did a great job. A freaking great job. One of us. I love that freaking emote, Mel. I know you guys would like that one. Not 100% true. Oh, it's the condenser plus the polar pattern. But yes. Also, hi. I knew, okay, it was an oversimplification. I knew it. And as soon as I started saying it, I'm like, okay, I'm close enough. And then I see your name in chat. I should just assume anytime I speak blasphemes about audio, Ruth shall appear, okay? It's like you say his name 3 times, but instead you just blaspheme about technically incorrect audio. And Ruth appears to correct the record. And I'm grateful for it, my friend. I'm grateful for it. Keep me honest. I want to know. I want to understand. Real excited to see what the mic does with the normal Friday night setup, because that air purifier and I are not friends. Yeah, that will be something. That will be something. I honestly don't know what that's gonna do, but I can fix it all in post. Live will be terrible, but I can fix it in post. So, I don't know. We're gonna see. All right, gang. So here's the deal. If you're not following on Rumble, follow on Rumble. If you're not following on Twitch, follow on Twitch. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Here's why I say subscribe on Rumble and Twitch, because many of you have noticed that I did not have an upload or uploads this week. I did not have long form or short form. And that's because I very quickly ran into a wall of, yes, I can continue to push out normal edits, the normal meme sort of edits once a week. Yes, it's a pace that we can manage, and we're doing it, baby, by gosh, by golly. However, and this is something I haven't got to tell you guys about yet, so you here right now, you who've sacrificed wherever else you could be on a Friday night, like Crisp. Had options. All of you have options. You guys get to hear this thing first, which is, I have several projects that are outside the normal scope of the edits that you've seen so far. Like the chair funeral, for instance. Chair funeral, for those of you who weren't around, didn't get to see the thing, it was a Herculean effort. It was a lot of logistics, travel, years of work and planning and figuring, all to come down to a rush of last month preparation and execution. It was a lot to get that chair funeral up and running, okay? A lot. But we did it. The consequence, though, is that is not a normal time frame to do such a thing. That's not something that I'm gonna put on the cutting board and deliver a week later. You know what I'm saying? So there was a mess up of timetables in there while we built that. Now, I have at least 2. Why do I think there's 3? There's 2 or 3 other projects that I have like that on the books, in the archive. It is 3. I have 3. Okay, I'm not crazy. I have 3 at least already special projects in the archives that I am dusting off in the near term. Now, some of you know about these projects, okay? That would be you patrons, capo and above. You guys have got to see a peek around the corner at the roadmap of editing that's to come. You guys got to see in our last talk, this past Sunday, in fact, you guys got to hear about what all is in the hopper, and we got to talk to you guys a bit about the logistics and some of the, behind the curtain type stuff. So, glad I got to talk to you guys about those things. Very fun. But for everybody else, I have to remain vague because we're not there yet. But the reason that you've not seen an upload last week or any shorts this week, and the reason you will, still not get one this Sunday, is because the project that is next to be unveiled predated virtually all of you. That project came... I actually don't know how many people in this call right now. 0. I'm pretty sure. 0 of you did I know back then. So this will be a surprise to everyone. Little hint. Just something that happened a long time ago for the sake of stream, for the sake of community building and helping out a friend and stuff. So there's much that will be revealed. And that's because it's an interview. And it was Mafia community submitted questions. So we're working very, very diligently to cut that down to something reasonable because it's me talking. So you know it's too long for a normal YouTube video. So we're cutting it up. And it's looking pretty good so far. Now my expectation is that will go live next Sunday. Not this upcoming one, the following one. The 11th? Yeah, the 11th. That's my expectation, okay? After that, sort of the cadence that this is something I talked to the capos about. The cadence that I want to get into, the rhythm, is maybe big project, big complicated endeavor, something that's never been done before, or certainly something that's never been done by me or by my team. And then jump into the short stuff again. Then jump into stuff that we can kind of churn out with relative frequency for a while. I want to space out the big giant projects. So that's what's going on. So you want to make sure, again, follow on Rumble, follow on YouTube, follow on Twitch. But the best way to keep up to date with all the stuff and all the things is to join the Mafia Community Discord. I'm going to be copying something that Boogan actually just did with the Ruffians a little bit ago. I'm going to be putting out a ping at some point soon, TM, whereby I ask who wants to be notified of things, and then I retire the use of @everyone. That's what I'm going to be doing. So, because I know a lot of people, like, I mute Discords. I really don't like being pinged for every stinking little thing, and try as I might to mitigate the @everyone sort of deal. I know that I ping you guys too much. I know that. So I want to change that. I know that most people just like mute by default. I will be revisiting that soon with a message to you guys. You'll see. You'll see. Okay. So I think that's all the announcements I had to make. Tomorrow night is the resumption. Resumption? We're resuming Everybody's Gone to the Rapture tomorrow night. I get to resume the game. It's fixed now. I figured out the thing. Whatever the performance issues. So yes, we're resuming that tomorrow, normal time, 8 p.m. Pacific time. The next one will be Tuesday in it. CNR's on Wednesday. And then next Friday night, we'll see. We'll see. Because this one took a lot. I'm gonna get into it obviously with the talk, but you'll understand more when we go through the material. You'll understand more why I don't have definitive answers here. I'm excited. I'm excited too. Make it a self-selectable role through Discord community settings. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do, Silver. That's what I'm gonna do. Helly! Hello, Helly. It's good to see you, my friend. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Continuation? Yes. Count me in. I want pings. Okay. Yes, that is something I will be doing soon, TM. My throat is not happy, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay. You're just in time, Helly. Because we're going to begin this bad boy. Let's get everything shut down, shall we? To the dashboard we go. We got to disable raids. Thank you to everybody who even considered raiding for any reason whatsoever. I am super grateful. Raids are disabled. Raids are disabled. Okay. Yes, and Rumble is working just fine. Just fine. Very good. Very good. I like the Rumble pirate flag. It's very fun in there. I like it. I like it. What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Maybe not. Hopefully not. Tonight may be a tough talk. Let me rephrase. Tonight is a tough talk. It will be more difficult for some than for others. I suspect there is a handful of y'all out there who this will not be as difficult for. It will be difficult for everyone else. Certainly difficult for me. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, okay. The door is closed. The way is shut. We've got our lecture in progress running. And here is where I start to miss y'all's chat. Made some small progress on building... Oh, business backend stuff? Hell yeah. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. Yes. We're going to timestamp. It's true. We are going to timestamp. Again, I'm going to be missing all of chat. I apologize. I have an actual better solution for that to be unveiled soon, TM, but just didn't have time this week. And again, once we get through this talk, you'll understand a bit more why. Okay. The Masculine Journey. Night 7. Night 7. The Lover. Part 1. The Lover. But only part 1. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Talk number 177. Nuts. That's what that is. That's nuts. In the previous installment, we concluded our introduction to the warrior, an utterly indispensable facet of the mature and properly oriented man. We discussed then the fact that there is evil in this world, even if you don't want to call it that, and that it will have its way if only men stand aside, if only we abdicate our responsibility as warriors. And that is because, though we've all heard the phrase, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing, we fail as moderns to reconcile that reality with the fact that it will not be nice men who do something. What, pray tell, will they do? Ask the unyielding evil to yield? This axiom's charge upon the lives of good men is a call not to niceness. It is a call to be warriors. And insofar as we men fail to live up to this responsibility, this calling, we will fail not only ourselves and our potential, but the whole of humanity, which hinges on our doing so. This next chapter in a man's development is similar, but also wildly different. And that's because, as was mentioned in the last warrior segment, life is about more than just battle. And now that we've got the time to develop it further, I want to quickly repeat a claim I made back then. This world that we inhabit, will conquer you in two ways. The first, and easiest, is to keep you out of the fight altogether. And that's exactly what's going on in our world today. Men are disengaging under the deluge of discouragement and difficulty. They refuse the role and responsibility of the warrior. I then went on to say that if you do choose hard mode, if you do choose to engage here, then you will face a different challenge. Knowing now that you will not be kept from the fight, the world will seek instead to beat you by burying you in battles. More specifically, you'll find yourself buried in battles that aren't yours to fight. Again, this is key, and I made sure to hammer at this in the last installment. Not all battles are yours. There are too many battles out there. Countless worthy causes. My word of caution then was that you must resist being lured into battles that aren't yours to fight, no matter how urgent they seem. And though I don't have the time tonight to muse upon it as I'd like, I encourage you to set aside a few minutes this week to think about the word lured in this context. Don't miss the spirit behind a word like lure here. This is not a passive hazard in life. This is not something that just happens to you. This is a battle for the very soul and well-being of man. And inasmuch as you refuse to face that reality, you will be swept aside by a very real enemy. So I say again, don't allow yourself to be lured into battles that aren't yours, lest your life become nothing but battle. Should you fail here, one of two things happens. Number one, you are rendered ineffective. Because your time, attention, energy, and resources are spread so thin, you will be largely ineffective in everything you do. There will be no depth to your successes. If every battle is yours to fight, none of them are. You must pick and choose where you will spend your finite resource of self. And number two, you become disillusioned. If all you have in your life is strife, if your days, weeks, months, and years are nothing but battle after battle, you will become cynical. You'll become jaded. You'll become callous. If your time is spent solely in battle, more than that, if your time is spent solely in battle, you have lost. And I'm going to say that again. If your time is marked only by conflict, if it's all war and no rest, you have lost. And so have the people in your life, incidentally. You may recall the beginning of this series during the boyhood stage when I spoke about a gentleman I knew who was an accomplished heart surgeon. He worked like a dog to give his family the best life possible, yeah? And when his wife died of cancer, he worked even harder, knowing that the battle for his kid's future was not only a worthy fight, but that its success or failure rests on him. This is noble. This is good. He understood that he had a responsibility to others, and that he must find the strength to continue, even in the face of crushing difficulty. And good for him. He was a warrior. And we need more men, not to mention fathers, to take up that fight. But you'll recall, there was more to that story. Because of his labors, his 2 children did not go hungry, no. Nor did they want for a roof over their head. They lived in an incredible house with a beautiful vista view of the valley below. But what they did lack was their dad. That man sacrificed mightily for the people he loved, no question. But by the time he stopped swinging his sword long enough to look back at the children he was protecting, they were grown. They weren't the innocent 7- and 10-year-olds he held in his mind to fuel his fight. They were adults. They had grown up without him. And now they were moving out. They were fed and housed, it's true, and that's not nothing, okay? Let me be quick to say that it's not a given that children in this world, just have those things, okay? I understand that perfectly well. But this series is not chiefly about bare minimums, or haven't you noticed? This series is about best practices. They were fed and housed, yes, but they weren't living. And that is owed in no small part to their lack of a father to show them how. Men, the reason I was delayed in giving this talk is because I struggle with both of these. Be perfectly candid with you. Up until this point, I've had no issues with the masculine journey. Okay, I had a great childhood, specifically as it pertains to getting boyhood right, as we talked about, and even better adolescence as it pertains to getting the ranger right, and have had very issues taking up the fight now as a warrior. But this? The lover? I have long been stumped by this. Don't mistake me, though. When you hear lover, you think the romantic kind. Same as me, okay? That's the one that my mind fills in. A romantic relationship with a significant other. But that's only part of this facet of the journey. And it's not even where we're beginning, okay? It's not even the start of it. Here's how John Eldridge described this. The stage of the lover does not primarily mean that time in a young man's life when he falls in love with a girl. Though that is part of it, I don't believe it is the core of the stage, or even its ultimate expression. I do hope that there will be a girl in the picture, and that she turns his world upside down. Eve is God's glorious intrusion into the world of cowboys and warriors, for nothing, absolutely nothing, disrupts like Eve. And she is meant to change their lives forever. However, there are movements in the young man's soul that would be best to take place before Eve steps into the picture. Movements that often do take place, but go unrecognized until she's there. After lauding a trio of virtues in the good, the true, and the beautiful, he goes on to say, as we look over the stages of the masculine journey, we find that the boy begins to understand good as he learns right from wrong, and the warrior fights for what is true. But when a man comes to see that the beautiful is the best of the three, then is the lover awakened. This material has been difficult indeed for me to process, and even more difficult to prepare because I don't have all this figured out. This is the first piece of proper masculinity for which I had no ready anecdotes with which to illustrate the lessons. But let me tell you what that doesn't mean. I did not approach this area of study pridefully, accepting everything I understood and everything I felt I did and do well. I did not just cut out the whole portions of these authors' books and go, well, they got everything right except for this part right here. You know, that I can just toss. That part, not relevant. They missed the whole thing, okay? I knew that there was value in the writings concerning the stages, what preceded this one. Yeah? It'd be ridiculous of me to assume this one irrelevant. Instead, puzzled by myself, I went to the people who knew me best. I went to my mentors and asked them about this. I went to the sages in my life and asked them what they thought of the lover. And you know what? They understood it. And since I've cultivated these relationships over many years and entrusted myself to these people, they were also able to answer why I didn't understand it. They understood not only the importance of this stage, but they also knew why I didn't. In short, I have made both of the mistakes I described earlier. I have been lured into battles that are not mine to fight, and have thus been spread extremely thin, like butter over too much bread, rendering ineffective my contributions essentially everywhere I've tried to make them. And, recognizing this lack of potency, my solution has been the same as countless men who've gone before me. Fight more. Put in more hours, put in more sweat, sacrifice more. The result? My life has in many ways become the very thing these authors warn against. The battle has become everything. My saying this will make much more sense when we're through tonight's material, I promise. But it's also entirely possible that I'm talking to an audience, as I said at our outset, that understand all this much better than I. And you'll just be puzzled as to how someone who doesn't know all this already. Stay with me, though, and let's find out. Setting the stage, I want to share some pictures with you, okay? I've got some fun stuff to share. So let me slide on over here. Let me just make sure that all this is working okay. Good deal. Okay. This is Reno, Nevada. Or South Reno. South Reno, down toward Carson, looking up at the Sierras. At a sunrise. And this is illuminating those clouds right there as the sun touches the top of the Sierras. It's really something. This is a picture that I took from my parents' old house when they were still living there. This was a couple winters back. That, you may guess, you may recognize, is the Hop Ride. And that's why I took the picture. And that's not altered in any way. None of these pictures are altered in any way. None of these are shaped or changed. None of them have filters on them. None of them have been edited, okay? That is a place over in California, actually, at my parents' old house. Several houses ago. I move a lot. But yeah, we've got some more to share here. But first I need to see who's texting me, because everybody I know is here. Oh, thanks, Twitch. I'm live, you guys. Just so you know, I'm live on Twitch right now. Thank you, Papa Bezos. I appreciate that. Appreciate you letting me know. This is a mountain stream of a place that I went backpacking to up in the Sierras. This is Kirkwood Lake, also up in the Sierras. And these pictures are in order, going all the way back to 2017, incidentally. A couple of them were out of order. But, yeah. This is from 2020. That's Kirkwood Lake. That is where I spent much of my childhood. Camping. Fishing that lake right there. On the other side of that lake, way over on the other side of it, from this picture, is the tree that I got that lure stuck in, that some of you will recall the story of. More Kirkwood. It was smoky, very smoky. There was a huge fire nearby that eventually came through and wiped all this out. This is all blackened char and granite after that fire. There's another view from my parents' house. Some more. Hot Bride and I going for a run. Just taking in the beautiful, cold day. Cold day, you go for a run. Same view. I think it was like the next day, I think it was maybe 2 days later, actually. This is our old, our Hot Bride and I had an apartment right on the edge of this lake. It's in the middle of Reno. And it totally freezes over in the winter. Huge lake, totally freezes over. And so we like to still, to this day, go on walks there. So... That is a view off of our back deck. A couple years back. This is up at Gold Lake. Gold Lake, another place up in the Sierras that we've gone camping at a handful of times. Sometimes by ourselves, sometimes with friends or family. Now this one is special. This is in a place called Füssen. This is in Germany, very southern edge of Germany. And some of you will recognize this place as the climb up to the Castle Neuschwanstein. This is the castle that Sleeping Beauty was designed after. Or Beauty and the Beast, I can't remember which. But these are just some shots of the climb up. And there's the castle. Another view from up top the ascent as it rained. This is on the train ride back. Those are the Alps right there. That's what we were up on the edge of Neuschwanstein. It's the northern edge of the Alps. This is the Germany side of them. This was an incredible mountain range in Buchs, Switzerland, right outside of Liechtenstein. Now this is taking the train all the way up to Zermatt, Switzerland. This is where we stayed for a spell. I got to share some of these pictures with some of y'all, but this is deep in the Swiss side of the Alps. Zermatt, famous mountains because of one you may recognize up there in the top right. And I took all these pictures, by the way. These are all, I didn't say that at the outset, but all these pictures are ours. This is the river down in the township itself of Zermatt. But that top right there, that mountain might look familiar to you because that is the Matterhorn. An incredible mountain. This is the world's tallest gondola that we were barely begun on when I took this particular picture. And that is Zermatt, way down below, as we ascended up, up, up to the glacier top. And the glacier doesn't melt. It never gets above freezing up there. And so you get these ice formations from ancient times that are frozen, that just look like they're in a state of movement, and they've just not budged in, they said, thousands of years. So you get this blue ice effect. It's really something. Hot Bride with the Matterhorn. I don't know what I was doing with the zooming in and out. But you can see that the wind hits one side of it and is forced to go up and over the top. So you often get these incredible pictures of the wind whipping off of the top of the Matterhorn. That giant tooth. There's some of the glacier movement. This blue ice. Thousands of years old. Here's the top of the mountains. Here's way up on top. The highest gondola ride in the world. You get up to the top of the Alps and you just see endless glacier. Right here. And I've muted this because up here the wind was absolutely howling. And it was negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit or something. And then the wind chill. It was incredibly cold. And I was absolutely wearing the wrong outfit for this. But this place was cold. We could not stand out here on this exposed platform for very long. It's too cold. Back down, heading back down. Mountains down below. As we get back down to the below the snow line, heading back down into our train swap way south of Zermatt. This is the other side. This is heading up past Zurich, going back toward Germany in the west. This was looking out of our hostel window in Heidelberg, Germany on our last day there before coming home. More Kirkwood, more recently. Snow in our yard. Snow on trees. Look at this. Just, again, view from our house. Some of you will recognize that from the house tour. A view out of one of our windows. Our little tiny yard, such as it is. Neighborhood. This is a bench that the Hot Bride and I found on top of a mountain. You have to run up this horrible hill up at the top, and there's just a bench up there. Overlooking all of West Reno. Some more of our sunsets. This is in our backyard. So, yeah, these are pretty typical sunsets that we have in Reno. More of some of the cloudscapes. Got the moon up there. I know the picture is really small for you guys. I apologize. This was a picture taken last year. A year ago, almost exactly. And that tree right now is just coming into bloom. So it's about to turn all pink all over again. More shots with the moon there. view from one of the trails that we run on here in the valley. This is up at Scotts Flat Lake up in Northern California, visiting some friends. So, you know, me and a book and a smoke, enjoying the beach. Back home. Pretty typical cloudy vistas, again, where we live. That's why there's a lot of repeats of the landscape here, because this is just from our house. The colors we get in fall in this valley are really something. Really something. And it's just represented really well just in our neighborhood. So, there's one. This is a neighbor's tree. That tree is every year. There's Reno. Reno, Nevada. Now there's an irony. Okay. There's an irony that for the sake of instruction I'll make explicit in this. That was all of my landscape pictures. That's it. Going back to 2017. Those are all the pictures of nature that I have. I went through thousands of pictures. Thousands. I don't have to look at each individual one. I could scroll and find them, but thousands. And that was it. That was all of them. First one was from 2017. Next one after that was from 2019. Next one after that was 2020. Over time, I've gotten a little bit better with this. Okay? And this definitely changed once we got plants into our lives. This is something you guys have seen. Those guys who I've known since I've done the plant streams have seen this. My affinity for my want for my hobby of plant care and plant growing and all of that. That's something you guys have seen. But for landscape shots, for just nature, for just explicit natural beauty, that's it. And as I wrestled in preparation for this series, knowing that this talk was to come, I looked through pictures. I understood some of the principles in theory. And I looked through the pictures and saw how few I had. There's an irony again. And I tried to figure out how to convey what changed in me, in my life, between 2017, my earliest pictures, to an increase in them into 2022, 23, 24, and now 25, where I have thousands, many thousands of pictures of plants. Many thousands, and many of which you guys have seen if you've seen the plant stuff and the gallery, the living gallery. I tried to convey in writing somehow what changed. And this is what the poets and romantics have long sought. To convey that which they cannot. They run into a wall of finite speech. They strive against the inevitable end of a word's ability to capture something beyond the mechanical, beyond the physical. Sure, you can describe a pretty sunset. It's got some orange, it's got some pink, and there were layers. It's another thing entirely to see one. It's another thing entirely to behold one. Is it not? To be present. And though we'll not tread much deeper on the matter until The Lover Part 2, the same can obviously be said about a beautiful woman. For woman is the personification of beauty. I'll talk much more about that in our next piece. Woman is the personification of beauty. Sure, you can describe her, but words will always fall short, very short. Which isn't to say that it's not worth trying to put into words. Far from it. What I'm relaying here about tonight is my inability to accomplish in mere weeks what the more accomplished than I romantics have failed to capture in a lifetime, okay? Poets and writers and artists of all ages have attempted to capture beauty. And they've done it for a lot longer with much greater success than I. So here I am, having a bad go of it in such short a time. Not so short a time, as you'll soon find out. Tonight is what came as a result of there simply not being enough hours to try to capture in words all that I'd wish to. That's what tonight is. Tonight is an encapsulation of the attempt, which says something on its own. But okay, we gotta get back up a bit, real quick, okay? Real quick. I promise we'll return to discussing woman, like I said, in the next installment, but tonight we're focused not on beauty's personification, but on its essence, okay? On pure, raw, elemental beauty. I need to invite you to consider something I was faced with in my study here. When was the last time you were unplugged? And I don't just mean from technology, though that's a big part of it. When was the last time you were, of your own volition or otherwise, detached from the world of obligation and hurry in order that you might be still? Many of you listening right now understand why this was a difficult wrestling, incidentally, for me. I do not detach. I do not rest. I push. I grind. So yeah, when I was reading all about this stuff, I was confronted by a big ol' hole in my being. When was the last time I went to a mountain stream and just beheld it? When was the last time I detached from the battle and beheld beauty? Reflecting on my life, the only occasion I have to actually be present and behold this kind of beauty is when I'm forced to do so by others. Incidentally, that picture of a mountain stream, that babbling brook, was because a friend asked me to go on a backpacking trip. I did not initiate it. Several others of those were camping trips that were not of my doing. Most of them not of my doing. So, yeah. Much of this is when I've been forced to do so by others. As, again, when a friend asks to go camping or backpacking, I rarely plan such things myself these days. Any other exposure I have to this kind of beauty is incidental and fleeting, as when I'm doing plant chores, okay? I have glimpses. Glimpses, yes, glimpses every day. They're all around me. But nothing that violently removes me from my routine and my rigidity. They're passing moments that leave little impression and do almost nothing to nourish the heart of the lover in man. As I was preparing this talk, I read a bit of history that still stuns me. How many of you know the name Xerxes? If you're like most folks, you only know the name because you've watched the movie 300. But it's not for nothing that Xerxes was as successful in his reign as he was. Do a little digging and you'll find not just a competent warrior, but something in his story for our purposes tonight. In his preeminent work of the Histories, in the 5th century BC, Herodotus recounted a story of King Xerxes on the march. Passing from Phrygia into Lydia, he came to the place, that is Xerxes, where the roads part. The road on the left leads to Caria, the one on the right to Sardis. On the latter, the traveler must cross the river Meander and pass by the city Calatibos. It's an impossible. I don't know why. Ancient Greek is hard, turns out. Pass by the city. Okay. On the latter, the traveler must cross the river Meander and pass by the city of Calatibos, where craftsmen make honey out of wheat and tamarisks. Xerxes went by this road and found a plane tree, which he adorned with gold because of its beauty, and he assigned one of his immortals to guard it. On the next day, he reached the city of the Lydians. So here's Xerxes, okay, marching across Persia with an army of 2 million men at his back. And with no mechanical, logistical, or prudent need to, he stops the entire company and tells them to make camp around this tree. I looked it up because I'd never heard of a plane tree before. And that's Plane, plane tree, okay? What it's talking about in this is the Planatus Orientalis, the oriental plane. It's apparently a relative of what we in the West know of as a sycamore. More specifically, because there's like a dozen varieties of sycamore, turns out, this one is called appropriately, the Old World sycamore. Now, we don't know how big or how old the one Xerxes saw was, but these trees live thousands of years and grow 100 feet tall. And having just told you that story, it goes without saying that each of you now listening are awestruck by beauty. Yeah. Awestruck, yeah. No, you're not awestruck? Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. It needs a better description. You need a better description. You didn't get, okay, Herodotus didn't do it for, okay. I got you, fam, I got you. From the encyclopedias, okay? This sycamore tree is known for its long lifespan and spreading, dense crown of leaves and branches. This species of sycamore is native to Eastern Europe and the Middle East. When it comes to leaves, the Old World sycamore tree shows thick and large leaves that grow up to 10 inches wide. These maple-like leaves come in medium to dark green color and show 5 to 7 lobes with serrated edges. Deep notches can also be found between the lobes. The green leaves turn into red, amber, or yellow shades in fall. The bark of this sycamore grows thick and rugged. The color of the bark usually is in shades of brown and gray, which flakes off to show white patches. Flaking off the bark starts only after the tree has matured. There. Now you're awestruck. There you go. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. It was short-sighted of me to do this to you in the middle of a talk, right? And now you won't be able to snap out of it. You'll be no good for the rest of the thing to hear the rest of the talk. I know. But it was important to experience for the story, for this understanding. It's important for you to experience this awe that you now have, even as you now grasp to hear my words through the fog of awe. I know it. I'll give it a second. No? Still no? What do you mean? What do you mean no fog? What do you mean you're still with us? Are you suggesting that words alone aren't enough to leave you in a state of dumbfounded wonder? Okay. So I pulled up some pics for you. Pictures for you, okay? Let's get this awe thing going. Yeah, let's do it. Shall we? We're gonna do it. It's gonna be great. Don't even sweat it. Okay, you guys? Don't even sweat it. That's not the one. There's the one. Unbelievable. And it messed up my proportions. Of course it did. Of course it did. And it crashed. Okay, good talk. Whatever. Okay. All right. Okay, this is a sycamore. If you're not familiar, this is a sycamore. Congratulations. Now you know what a sycamore looks like. All right? That is also a sycamore. There's another one. And that is a 2-story house underneath it. Over there. Yeah. Some random dude, a picture of which is on the internet, standing inside this particular sycamore. There's another one. Pretty impressive tree, huh? Pretty impressive tree. I know. I know it. I know it. It's something. It's something. Yeah. There you go. So now you know. You're all set now. You're stacked. You're equipped. You're prepared. And yet, pictures do not explain why one of the most famous warrior kings in history was stopped in his tracks by a tree. This is why there's no substitute for touching grass. And this is why I've had such a difficult time putting together tonight's talk. Because you know what? I likely would have been one of the guys in that 2 million man group going, why do we stop? What? This isn't Lydia. Oh, what could we have possibly run into that stopped a group of this size? Who? What? Think of the logistics. Won't someone think of the logistics? That'd be me. Okay? Okay? That's me. I'm the guy in the back. That's me. And then I read things about the necessity of a man experiencing this kind of beauty. Necessity. A feeling so powerful that it arrests the warrior and forces him to be still. Perhaps that's why I'm always doing so much. I have not yet learned the value of stillness. Again, having read all this, I understand the value in theory, but that is quite different from knowing it viscerally, isn't it? So I'll ask you again the same question that I'm faced with. When was the last time you experienced beauty? When were you last captivated, enraptured by it? When was the last time you had something else to do, but were arrested, seized, and held against your will by something you could not then and cannot now put to words? Hear now what I've struggled with. The warrior is necessary and good. But if the heart of the warrior is not tempered by that of the lover, we will be incomplete. We will be stunted. We need both to advance well into the stages yet to come. Small wonder, then, why we have so few kings or sages. When were you last told all of this, men? When were you last convinced by someone you respect of the seriousness of the term warrior poet? There's an ancient Celtic proverb that says, never give a sword to a man who can't dance. Never give a sword to a man who can't dance. Gang, I know I've already said this a lot, okay? But I have struggled with this. And I knew I was going to have a hard time with this like 12 months ago, okay? Way back when I first decided to tackle the masculine journey. I knew I could handle the other things readily enough. But the lover? As the weeks drew nearer and nearer, I became increasingly anxious about what I'd do with it. Doubt and concern crept in. But then, as with those externally planned and unlooked for backpacking trips I mentioned earlier, something happened then the doubt did not expect. Something interrupted my routine from outside my routine. One of the CNR crews, with whom I'm privileged to do life, put together an off-day movie night, and I was invited to join. Again, y'all know me, many of you at any rate. I don't watch movies. I don't watch movies. I don't have the time. So many of you have asked me here in chat, in calls, and get-togethers of any kind, okay, have I seen this movie, that movie? And my answer, 90% of the time at least, is I haven't. Okay? You know this. Veterans of the channel, you know this. I have had, historically, very little inclination to spend time in leisure, wasting time that could otherwise be productive. There's my bias toward mechanical efficiency again, that rigidity. And you can ask the hot bread. I'm especially unwilling to watch movies if they're ones I've seen before. It's so inefficient in the face of all the movies I haven't yet seen. You take my meaning. And like my Monday Night Men's group, okay? Guys I see every week, Whiskey Cigar Group, they quote all these movies that everyone has seen. Like Dodgeball, Waterboy, Tommy Boy, Billy Madison, list goes on, okay? And I know the quotes, because I hear them so often, but I've either never seen the movies or I've seen them once or partially and then promptly brain dumped them, okay? But they've all watched these movies dozens of times, and they never tire of watching or quoting them, okay? And for what it's worth, I've never much cared to be in the loop with that kind of stuff. Same goes for people who watch The Office on repeat. Okay, you can tell me all day long, all day and night how funny and quotable it is, yes, but I'm not gonna watch it. I have so much else to do. But the crew I'm talking about, they didn't ask me to join them in watching Happy Gilmore or The Other Guys. They asked if I would join in watching Lord of the Rings. Now, there are exceedingly few movies that I'd go out of my way to watch, okay? You just heard me describe why. But Lord of the Rings. Perhaps you felt it too. Perhaps when you heard me say what movie series it was, you too felt something. If that's you, I want you to try and put words to the feeling you just had. In fact, I invite you to do so in the comments below. List however few or however many words you'd like here. On Rumble, on YouTube, where there's comments. Perhaps, with our efforts combined, we may yet make a dent in conveying all that there is to about this feeling. And if you're somehow unfamiliar with the Tolkien books or the Peter Jackson original trilogy, I invite you to consider watching the latter. The books are magnificent, and I highly recommend them as well, but for the sake of accessibility, I will refer you to the movies. This sentiment, incidentally, does not carry over to the Hobbit movies, however. Okay, don't get me started. But okay, back to movie night. Back to movie night. I did not then, nor do I have now, the time to watch movies, let alone the director's extended uncut version of one, okay? And here I've now made the time for 3 such films. Why? It's actually a fairly difficult question to answer plainly. I was knee-deep in my inability to teach this part of the series when asked. By all rights, it was a logistics impossibility for me to cede those hours to a movie night. I style myself, many, again, veterans of this community know, I style myself a deeply rational man, valuing efficacy and efficiency above all else. And yet, there's no other way to describe my having made that time other than I didn't have a choice. It sounds absurd to the mechanical mind, but I was summoned. I didn't think much of this when we were like sorting, by the way, when we were figuring out time and date, though. I sort of listed along through the rest of my routine, knowing that there was a time vacuum on a random Thursday evening looming that I needed to remember, so I alarmed in your phone and all that, right? And then the hour came, and with it, the haunting melancholy of an elvish choir. The accompaniment is overlaid with hushed utterances of an unfamiliar tongue, all atop a black screen. The voice of Galadriel joins the lament, wherein she labors to detail a history of Middle-earth, one of loss and one of hope, a tale of strength and of weakness. In the space of 30 seconds, and with a still black screen, no less, I went from worrying at the clock to burning eyes in a tight chest. Oh. I don't remember when I last watched through the whole Lord of the Rings movies. My guess is it was about a decade ago, though. And here I was, 30 seconds in. And I knew in my bones why this had been involuntary. To abuse the phrase, I could not then, nor can I now, do justice in explaining what I felt while watching The Fellowship of the Ring that first night. But in short, I felt. I was overwhelmed by every musical theme, every landscape, and every story beat. It will likely sound as ridiculous to your ears as it does to mine, but it's no exaggeration to say that I fought tears for nearly all of that 3.5-hour runtime. Something had awakened in me. Something that had been dammed up for too long. And now here we are. The dam broken and the floodwaters let loose. It turns out I do know this kind of beauty. But I have done a great deal of work to insulate myself from it, to compartmentalize the facets of my life ad infinitum, until the bureaucracy and red tape of my mind had all but buried the lover. For the unfamiliar, most of today's fantasy genre, and the success of it, traces its parentage right back to Tolkien's work, okay? It's why there exist avatars in the Western consciousness for elves, dwarves, and orcs. And for their part, the Peter Jackson films were responsible for setting these races' characteristics in people's minds in a way that few projects have since. Now, I'm not just fanboying here, okay? I say this for a reason. Because I live under the Damocles blade of YouTube and Twitch censorship, for what is obviously fair use, I cannot play portions of the film or its score in order to make visceral what I'm talking about. So I'm counting on y'all's recollection of visuals and tropes here. But I want you to picture an orc, if you can. More specifically, I want you to picture, or to imagine, Peter Jackson's depiction of the Uruk-hai. Okay? That would be these guys. These guys. These are the Uruk-hai, if you're not familiar with the franchise. Okay?
I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool. Dancing on the string held by all those big shots.
Troublemaker. Thank you for the gifted, the Kira. I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. The Urukai. Okay. Hold these in your mind for a minute, okay? So we go through these pictures. You got the picture now. You've got the Urukai in your brain. This is what you're looking at. This is what you're picturing, okay? There we are. All right. That picture right there that I just showed you that you've got in your brain right now. That is the warrior. You know, stage of the masculine journey. We finished up just ahead of this one. Yeah, that. Yeah, that warrior. That warrior in the masculine journey. That warrior. That one. That's what that is, right there. They're strong, they're resilient, they're ruthless in their pursuits. What's more, they are confident in all they do, practically fearless. Why? Because they are competent in all that they do. They're warriors, and effective ones at that. But did you catch it? I said that they were competent in all that they do. Tell me, what all do they do? These warriors I've just shown you. Excuse me. What all do they do? In the Two Towers story, we're told it is an army bred for a single purpose: to destroy the world of men. Talk about specializing. These were special forces operators for the forces of evil. What happens if they win? I want you to think about this for a second, okay? If they succeed, and the Urukai and the rest of Sauron's forces wipe out all else in the world, what then? Do you see it? I was dumbstruck when this hit me. I've been struggling for months trying to figure out how to teach something for which I have felt unequipped. Okay? I've wrestled with the terribly old notion, okay? This crazy ancient thing, this so-called warrior poet. I've puzzled and agonized over that proverb, never give a sword to a man who can't dance. And now, watching Lord of the Rings, of all things, I get it. Think about that question again. Not just what happens to the world if the orcs win. What happens to the orcs? If their sole purpose is to destroy men, what happens when their purpose is fulfilled? What happens to them when there's no more war? What becomes of a Marine when all he knows is war and then he's discharged? What becomes of a man when his part in the fighting is done? There exist problems in this world, and there will always be wars that need fighting. The warrior is necessary. But what about when you're not in the fight? What about when you're not deployed? Some of you know this, but there's a pretty nasty reality surrounding the families of those who deploy into combat zones. Domestic violence rises considerably when people come home. So do substance abuse and suicide. Why? Because he doesn't know how to dance. He doesn't know how to do anything else. He doesn't know how to live. He doesn't know who he is without war and conflict. Why is the capable warrior incomplete without the lover? Because all he knows is how to go to war. How to go to war. Okay? And that it's necessary. Great. It's what he knows. How to go to war and that it's necessary. He doesn't know how to come home from war. And why it's equally necessary. But it's worse than that. If a man doesn't know how to dance, it means he also doesn't dream of home. He has no anchor, no tether. I was struck by this as we were watching through Lord of the Rings. And Sam comes to mind. I never much cared for the character of Sam, historically, truth be told. But I was struck by something in this watch through. All of Sam's dialogue yearns for home. So much of it, all the time. Okay? In the second movie, they see an Oliphant for the first time, and he says, "No one at home will believe this. Will believe this. Not would believe this. Will." He's looking ahead to the world of going home. It's ever present in his mind. He's got a little seasoning box from the Shire, taste of home, until we get home. We've got enough provisions and we've got to be careful with our food. Why? The journey home. In the second movie, Faramir is interrogating them, right? And he's like, oh, okay, he's the Frodo character. What, are you his bodyguard? And he says his gardener, right? And then they go through some stuff, and then in their parting, Faramir says to him, "The Shire must truly be a great realm, Master Gamgee, where gardeners are held in high honor." Indeed! Great indeed must home be to one's mind in order to fight for it. But not just to fight for it. Mercenaries fight, but not for home, not in this way. Large must home loom in man's mind in order that he might undertake the altogether different challenge of coming home. Through coercion or bribery, men can be made to fight, yes. And I've told y'all before about how the Marines famously brainwash us to make us capable of committing terrible violence on America's behalf. But what of the other side of that coin? What of the lover? Not so much. A lifetime ago, I lived in Israel for a spell, okay? Working with the Israeli Defense Forces in a training exchange. I'll keep it simple. And I've never forgotten a peculiarity of our time there. I've told some stories about this with a handful of you, but most of you haven't heard these. Picture police dogs in the United States, okay? Those of you here in the West, I don't know what it's like in all other countries. I know a lot of Europe does this, okay? But picture police dogs in America, all right? What do you have in your brain? What's the picture in your mind? Probably a German Shepherd of some kind with a vest on, a tactical vest, maybe a camera attached to its back, something like that. Okay. In the United States, also, it is considered a crime to kill a police dog. So if you are a bad guy and you shoot and kill a police dog, your crime is killing a police officer, and you will receive a sentence commensurate with such. Okay? That's how they're treated. Police dogs in the States take a huge amount of time and resources to get trained up, to be maintained. Like, they're going to get their usage out of them, and, like, hell hath no fury, like the instructors who find out that you've messed with their dog, right? Like it's a big to-do, police dogs in the States and in the West broadly. Now I'm in Israel. We have a very different approach to war. We, the United States Marines, and Israel. And one of the things that really struck me was these dogs. Okay? We're at this place in north central Israel. Again, I'll be vague. Where you just hear noise. You hear this great din in the distance. And you go, what is that? It was all hours of the day. It's just like, what is that? It's barking. It's barking and snarling, and it's just a lot. It's so much of it that you don't get to discern. It's just noise, and it's just constant, this constant, like, droning, okay? And these dogs are very interesting because we were trained in a bunch of room clearing type stuff. This is my job. My job specifically was a domestic, here in the States, domestic counterterrorism expert. And I learned all of that stuff abroad. I learned a lot of that. I learned a lot of it abroad from training with other militaries, training with other countries. And Israel was no different. And I'm an expert in MOUT. That's military ops in urban terrain, okay? We love our acronyms in the military. That's my job. Kicking in doors, killing bad guys, all right? And we've got all sorts of techniques for how this ought to be done. There's best practices, there's some variations, there's debates on whether, you should do a cross or a button hook. Like, how are you gonna do this? Depends on the room, you don't know what you're gonna see. How's the technology has changed some, so maybe you can get a map. There's a lot that goes into planning how you're gonna hit a house. A lot of reconnaissance that goes into it. If you've got the time for that sort of thing, if it's a particular mission, you may need all of that, and maybe you'll even get it all. There's a lot that goes into hitting a house, okay? So imagine my surprise when I'm in Israel, and our instructors teach us about their building clearing. And we were very surprised by this. I won't give you all the details. There's too many stories to tell, okay? But one of the methods is, in every case, they get on a bullhorn and notify the inhabitants of a house that they're there. Every single time. That's what the Israelis do. There is no kick in the door in the middle of the night and it's surprise and nope. They forfeit the element of surprise every single time. Everywhere they go. Israel is so freaking careful to not offend delicate sensibilities that they put themselves at great personal risk to do this annoying thing where they alert the inhabitants to their presence with a bullhorn. Terrorists, come out. And we're like, what? Well, okay, and then what? Well, we wait. Well, because in their culture, the women need to get dressed. Okay. And then what? We wait. What? Several? Okay. So what do they do? Oh, they hit the door and get shot, is my guess, right? Ready? 3, 2, 1, kick in the door and you get shot at, right? Yes. Great. Awesome. So glad we're training with you guys. This is really good. This has been really interesting information. Thanks for allowing us to come to your TED Talk. This has really been something. Really remarkable work, guys. Bang up job, y'all. Bang up job. And then we're like, so then what? And he said, and then we loose the dogs in the house. Oh, I'm sorry, you do what? So that field, it's somewhat near this base that we were operating out of, Camp Adam. This field of cages. It's this huge, like, iron cage things. Massive field acres of them. Okay? Tons, so many cages of just feral dogs that they starve and mistreat and train to be mean and hungry. They grab 3 or 4 of those on a lead, and they throw those in the house and close the door behind them. And those dogs go in and eat the people that just shot them. Remember the picture you had in your brain of the American, European, the Western police dogs? These dogs were quite different. Marines are not like the warrior poets of old. Neither are soldiers, sailors, or airmen. And neither, incidentally, are my operator brothers. We are those dogs. We are Urukai. We were bred for a single purpose. Consideration for what comes after the battle is given no thought. Modern militaries are filled with modern militaries are filled not with well-rounded, best practices followed warrior poets, but with one-time use attack dogs. But if you think I'm prepared to lay all that at the feet of the Corps, and the instructors, and the leadership, you'd be wrong. I lay the lion's share of that responsibility at the feet of modern men. Again, I ask you, where are the kings? Where are the leaders, not managers? Where are the good, capable, courageous, no-kidding XY chromosome men, damn it? Where are the warrior poets? Where are the middle-aged men teaching us how to do all this? Where are the still living warrior poets who've grown old and traded in their swords for plowshares? Where are they to show us the way? Each of you have been told a litany of lies by the adults in your life, but perhaps none as damnable as being told that you ought to decide which rest of your life career you want at 17 years old, so you can take out a $90,000 student loan, okay, bury yourself in debt to get a degree in whatever, so that you're guaranteed to get a job, which you then don't. So you get a job and you grind until hopefully only 65, where you get to retire, and then you actually get to live. The lesson of this stage is that unless your life is about more than battle, more than the grind, you've missed it. Men, this is about balance. A man who is unwilling to fight is a liability to everyone and everything, full stop. We must fight. But a man who is unwilling to stop fighting is also a liability. To do this right, we need both. Do you see it? I said earlier that I talked to the sage men in my life about all this. They each got far-off looks when asked about beauty in this sense, and the development of the lover. One talked a great deal about the family farm where he grew up, endless walks on never-ending acreage. Another talked about fishing, two actually talked about fishing. Each spoke of losing hours or days to beauty. One of them said something that I should hope to remember forever. Knowing that I'm lopsided in this, knowing that I'm all fight and no rest, one of my mentors cautioned me. Don't live such a busy life that there's no room for time to disappear. When man realizes there are things in life worth fighting for, but that there is more to life than just the fight, then is the poet awakened. At the beginning of the Fellowship, Bilbo is talking to Gandalf about his desire to, again, roam. Okay, roam the wider world. When he says of his nephew Frodo, he would come with me, of course, if I asked him. But he does not really want to, yet. I want to see the wild country again before I die, and the mountains. But I think in his heart, Frodo's still in love with the Shire. The woods, the fields, little rivers. When we watch these films, when we're moved by them, why does the word ache come to mind? When the hobbits, throughout the films, speak of the Shire, or when Boromir speaks of Gondor, or Gimli of the Great Mines, why are they so much better at it than we are? Why will each of them break into prose, if not outright song, in remembrance of wherever it is they hail from? And why does the ease with which such a thing comes to them give me pause? It seems I still have something to learn about being fully man, my friends. What's more, I have something yet to learn about being fully alive. I have resisted the heretofore baffling words of Chesterton, who said romance is the deepest thing in life. And were he talking solely about the sort of romance that's to be found between a man and his wife, there'd be neither resistance nor bafflement. Alas, he was talking about what we, here tonight, have been. He was talking about the great romance of human existence. One that bids us fight, yes, but one that also bids us be still. One that says there's a time for building up and a time to tear down. And so it is that I've come to see my own folly. We are made for more than the sword, and yet I have for many years lived by it. This ancient path bids us walk a line, gents. A quote, "The quest stands upon the edge of a knife. Stray but a little, and it will fail, to the ruin of all." It is no mere chance that Tolkien put these words in the mouth of Galadriel. What quest was he talking about? Can you think of none? Is there nothing in these stories for us today? Or are there perhaps echoes of the warrior poets of old, bidding that to our peril we hearken not unto their counsel? For they know the ancient paths we do not, they've tread them before. Men, warriors, if you, like me, have not yet learned to dance, it is time. All depends on it. Thank you. And so concludes The Lover, Part 1. More to come. More to come. And as I said at our outset, as I alluded to at our outset. What remains of this stage of development of the lover is something with which I am much better acquainted than this material, than I was this. Even still, this is tough. And, having gone through all of this as I have, having now, so recently, come to understand my own inability to dance, I have some things to work on in myself. I have a great deal of work to do, and a great deal of lost ground and lost time to hopefully make up for. With the patience and hopefully continued counsel of the warrior poets that I do know. There are a few, and I've worked very hard to surround myself by wiser men than myself, and they know this stuff. And now I know what questions to ask. Now I know to not nod off when they start talking about fishing. Thoreau once said, there's a line, I'm paraphrasing it, I don't know. Thoreau said, most men spend their entire lives without ever realizing that it's not fish they're after. I feel like that's me. I feel like that's me. I have been doing what I have known. What I have understood. But this, I cordoned all this off and I said, no, that's for somebody else. There's rational people and there's emotional people. That's for the emotional people. There's engineers and then there's artists, right? Warrior poet. Warrior poet. You know, it's also alluded to at the beginning of Braveheart. When young Wallace, little kid at his father's funeral, is told by his uncle, Argyle, kid wants to pick up a sword, and his uncle says, he goes, first, I teach you to use this. Pokes him right in the dome, and he says, then I'll teach you to use this, and holds up the sword. I'd show it to you, but you know, YouTube's not a big fan of Braveheart. They don't like it for some reason. They just really hate the movie. All of that is to say, I have much to sort out, much to learn, much to figure out, and I'm going to try very hard to put together next week's material in time for next week, because I have been very much struggling with this, but now I am foggy. That's a good word for it. I am foggy. And I have many things to sort out that I did not have on my plate before. But now it's important that I do. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll keep you guys posted on what the heck next week holds. But for now, at least for the simple stuff, we return to the silliness after tonight's seriousness. So, next stream is tomorrow night. Saturday night. Some of you live in the future. 22 hours from now, 8 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be returning to Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, their walking sim, spooky walking sim game. Now that the performance issues are fixed, and See if we can't maybe finish it. I don't know. We've got the beginner's guide on deck after that. Apex on Tuesday. CNR's on Wednesday. Get plugged into the Mafia, gang. You need community. You need people to wrestle with ideas like this alongside. If I didn't have the sages in my life, the kings in my life that I do, I'd be in much worse shape here. Much worse shape. And finally, I'd like to thank, again, everybody who makes this possible, everybody who has sacrificed to give this thing a future. All of the patrons, the public patrons especially, to the gifted subs that are going out, to those of you who tip and buy merch and all of that. But thank you to... Here's a unique thank you tonight, a first. Thank you to the crew who suggested this. Who invited me to join on what y'all's crew was doing. What you guys were getting up to in your own time. I appreciate the invite. I also appreciate it being Lord of the Rings. I don't know what else I would have said yes to. But this was something altogether different. And I am grateful to have been summoned. That I might begin this next chapter. That I might do so well. That I might set out in earnest and achieve where before I've not. Means a lot to do life alongside you guys. An awful lot. An awful lot. And now we end. Now we end early. I've been trying, like I said, to make these, to condense down this material so it's a little more digestible. I apologize, this one was a little bit longer, but I had a lot to say and I actually cut out quite a bit, so I tried to be succinct, but I've been hammering away. I got very little sleep last night. But you guys are worth it. Plain and simple. You're worth it. You're worth every sacrifice, every difficulty, every hurdle, every burden. You're worth it. You're worth the battle. You're worth the striving. But you're also worth me figuring this out. Daunting though it be. Because you also ought have people in your life who are doing some things right. And I aim to be one of those people. Though I have missed the mark many times, and though I've missed the mark here largely, and I still hope to rectify it. I aim to create content worthy of you. I aim to create something here that's valuable, because you're valuable. Something that matters, because you do. Something meaningful, because your life is incredibly meaningful. It's no trifle. No raid tonight. We don't raid out of the seriousness. But thank you again to everybody who was here for this thing. Everybody who's over on Rumble. Follow on Rumble. Follow on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Thank you. So what will it look like? What will the days yet ahead hold? Will we finish the game tomorrow? What's next in the lover? And then the king and the sage. What yet lies ahead on the masculine journey? Come and see. Come and see. And as ever, I will strive to see that it's a decision that you don't regret. In the meantime, I wish for you each marvelous evenings, mornings, wherever ye be. And I will see you on the other side.